Hi, welcome to Good Work Now. I'm Dr. Brian Moffitt. Today we're going to focus on how you can control stress and not let stress control you. According to the World Health Organization, the impact of stress in the workplace is staggering. $300 million a year is the cost of workplace stress. This is roughly $7,500 per employee. This is because of compensation claims, reduced productivity, absenteeism, health insurance costs, direct medical expenses, employee turnover, and so forth. Actually, just thinking about that number, 300 million, gives me a little stress. So today we're going to be focusing on how you can get in the driver's seat of stress and reduce it for yourself and your family. I'm very pleased to welcome to our show today Lynn Belzer. Let's talk about removing unnecessary stress. And I find this very, very interesting, Lynn, that you spend time, when you do workshops with organizations and you do seminars on stress management, this feels very empowering to me. The notion that a lot of stress or some degree of stress in our lives we can remove. We have the power to take it away, and we're not complete victims or have to surrender completely to that kind of stress. So what might be an example or ways of removing unnecessary stress? Let's talk about what might be some examples or types of stress that are unnecessary that we can simply remove from our lives.
Well, if you look at the idea that stress can be cognitive,
okay,
it can be somatic, and it can be behavioral.
Let's talk about those three things. I think those are interesting dimensions. Cognitive, what would that be?
So an example of a cognitive stress is that my boss calls me in.
Okay.
My boss calls and says, I need to see you, and would like you to come in at 2 today.
Okay.
And in my head, I'm thinking, oh boy, what did I do wrong? I'm in trouble, and I better think about what I just sent into my boss over the last week because I probably did something wrong.
Okay, so you're filling in the blanks with your own words in your head.
So I'm thinking about all this,
right,
and I'm getting more and more stressed out, and really that could cause any of those symptoms that we just talked about.
Right.
It could shortness of breath, perspiring more, not eating my lunch, having a stomach ache, or maybe my back starting to hurt.
Exactly.
And nowadays people clench their teeth a lot, so you could have anything around your head could hurt.
That TMJ kinds of stuff.
Can
right.
hurt your ears, it can give you a headache, it can hurt your neck.
So your thinking can be a trap.
So thinking is a trap, because once we get into that kind of thinking, it's reality.
Right.
Perception becomes reality. And unless we learn how to stop that kind of thinking, we're going to be in trouble.
Okay, so
because we can always come up, if you're in that kind of a mindset or a bent, we can always come up with something that will be scary.
So let's go back to that example of your boss called you and wants you to come into his or her office at 2 o'clock. What might be a strategy someone could use to reframe that or stop that self-talk that could be damaging or stressful?
Well, first I think you have to get to know yourself enough so you know what you're doing. So you catch yourself in action. And I'll talk later about some ways to do that. Then you can say, now you have to really talk to yourself and remind yourself that you don't really know what your boss wants.
Right.
Maybe your boss wants to commend you.
Right.
Maybe he's, nominated you for the Employee of the Year. So you just have to stop it. And sometimes just saying stop that and getting back to work is enough. Sometimes you have to take out pictures of your kids.
Exactly.
Or take out a little book that helps ground you and helps you remember, let's have some faith here.
Exactly. I've heard folks along these lines talk about a symbol. There's a symbol in their workspace to help them stop it, to stop that negative self-talk, because you're making a huge assumption. And assumptions can be very dangerous and inaccurate. Right.
Well, yeah, once we start down that slippery slope, boy, we can get out of control pretty quickly.
Definitely. Let's talk about the second one, the somatic area.
The somatic.
Yeah.
So I get a stomach ache, or somebody gets a stomach ache, and they're thinking, "Oh, what did I eat? Where's this from?" it really is good if you're a person that gets a lot of stomach aches, back aches, neck aches, to really do a quick scan of, now, is this from stress? Could this be, yes, I've been really aggravated with somebody at work. I've been giving them too much airspace, is what I call it, and I need to back out of that.
Or I've been cleaning the garage all weekend, and maybe that's why I have a backache. You know?
Well, right, right. So to just be sure that you're looking in the right place for what your stress is about. With that example about your boss calling you in, if you suddenly developed a stomach ache or a backache, it very well might be from stress, and so you can even remind yourself, okay, I'm getting my symptom. That's like what I call a yellow light.
Okay.
I need to slow down here, stop, take some breaths, and figure out what else I can do. And by the way, one of the biggest problems with stress is that people stop breathing. And I coach people on the phone sometimes, and I'll have to tell them to start breathing. Now keep on breathing. And I actually even read into their email that they're not breathing. I mean, it's a guess, it's a perception, because I know them and have to remind them.
Well, it's a very long sentence.
Yes. Or else something happened and they're asking me to check their reality, and it's like, okay, this probably isn't going to amount to anything. Keep breathing.
Right, okay. Let's talk about the behavioral.
The behavioral, you also have to begin to observe yourself, really. Let's go back to the same old example. So I'm going into my boss's office, and I can go in there with my guns drawn, out of my holsters, ready to fight.
As an example, let's say that I have in my head that my boss is going to chew me out, and I've convinced myself that's the reality. Then I may walk in the office like this and assume this behavior, and then I may not be listening, and I may get defensive and react in a defensive way. Whereas if I turn that self-talk off and think, I don't know for sure what's going to happen in that meeting. I'm not going to waste my energy worrying about it. I'll wait until 2 o'clock, walk in, and then have an open posture and just simply listen and ask questions and learn. Thank you very much for sharing all this insight about how we can gain control of stress and not feel so victimized by it. I know I've learned a lot. Like I'm one of those people that eats my lunch at my desk. I stay in the office way too much, and I haven't exercised in 2 weeks. Guilt. So I'm going to get back on the wagon and back on my elliptical and start working out. And Lynn's self-care guide is available at our website at www.goodworknow.com. And let me give you some more information in case you want to contact Lynn directly. Her website is www.organizationalsuccess.biz, and her email address is lbelzer@sbcglobal.net, and her phone number is 916-443-2546. And next time we're going to be talking about yoga and meditation at work. You don't need a yoga mat, just a chair. And we're going to have Shakti, a yoga instructor, coming to talk about what we can do at our very own workspace to relax, meditate, and do some stretches so you can stay healthy and balanced. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, keep up the good work.